Action.
Hi there, my name's Lawrie McKinna. I'm the Mayor of the Central Coast, and I have to be asked to come in and be I'm not sure, famous, just well known, or a celebrity reader this morning. So, how we saw Australia, a KareyandKareful book, which I'll be reading. And I'll speak as posh of English as I've got, which is not very posh, so it'll be a Scottish twang in there. Karey says, as you may already know, those who name the towns we visit in this book. Kareful says, thought the names were really nice. So nice, in fact, that he or she decided they sounded even nicer twice. Karey says, we all agreed, and so we decided to visit them first before we saw the rest. Kareful says, of course, we asked Jack, and he said that was best. Karey says, we've been rolling with Jack and Boz for decades in Jack's old trusty, his ever reliable Jeep. Kareful says, whenever he's asked if he wants a new one, Jack answers, old trusty's the Jeep I'll always keep. Karey says, Jack and Boz had been to them all, so he knew them well. Kareful says, and because of his Indigenous heritage, he has so many stories to tell. Karey says, his grandma Bessie was a proud Indigenous woman. Her ancestors lived where Sydney's now all go. Kareful says, she met Jack's granddad in Sydney when he brought some cattle to the Royal Easter Show. Karey said, she became a drover's wife and joined him droving cattle all across the great outback. Kareful says, they had a son, a cattle drover like his dad. He too had a son. We all know now as Outback Jack. Karey says, yes, Jack knows all the stories and how and why these towns all got their names. Kareful says, in fact, keeping up guessing what the names is one of Jack's favourite games. Karey says, all comfy in Jack's old trusty bus, we start rolling around our nation. Kareful says, first southwest from Wombat, 120 k's, 75 miles, to Wagga Wagga, Indigenous name meaning place of many crows, but since 2019, dance and celebration. Karey says, from Wagga Wagga we roll south 556 kilometres, 347 miles to Bullen, which means place of the lyrebird, east of Melbourne, Victoria's capital city, of which you may have heard. Kareful says 20 k's, 12 miles further south to Lang Lang, honouring early settler Lang or Stoney. Bush or clump of trees. Could be one or all these. Please pick whichever one you please. Karey then says, then 201 kilometres, 124 miles west past Melbourne to Lau Lau, with their Lau Lau Falls spectacular, meaning dashing of waters in the local Indigenous vernacular. Kareful says, we now roll 674 k's, 419 miles to Kiki, South Australia. Indigenous names for worms dug up from the soaked soil around Kiki Well, rich in local farming history, so there are many stories to tell. Karey says 2,900 kilometres, 1,800 miles west to Whoop Whoop, where was once a sawmill town, all gone, save some rotting posts, giving us the notion of a place that was very far away. Indeed, go 160 kilometres, 100 miles further west, and you're in the Indian Ocean. Kareful now roll north 430 k's, 260 miles to Bindi Bindi, meaning girls' butterflies or many sticks, in the WA wheat belt. So with millions of stalks or sticks of wheat, it's a name that really clicks. Karey says, 800 kilometres, 500 miles north from Bindi Bindi, we rode into Jimba Jimba cattle station, in local indigenous dialect meaning very small, but at 400,000 acres, 162,000 hectares, it's not very small at all. Careful says 3,238 kilometres, 2,021 miles northeast of Jimba Jimba to the Northern Territory Kakadu National Park, and Jim Jim Falls will soon see meaning place with water, tropical trees and shrubs, and most magical place to be. Karey says 2,700 kilometres, 1,670 miles southeast to Queensland's Mia Mia, meaning hut or shelter, state forest, full of eucalyptus trees for koalas, a never-ending feast. Careful met many distant relos there, 100 at the very least. Careful says 622 k's, 386 miles southeast to a place of red soil, thick scrub. Gin Gin is its name, captured near there in 1866. James McPherson, the Wild Scotsman, very close to me. I just saw the Wild Scotsman, and that could be my wife actually. Queensland's only outlaw bushranger gives the town its fame. Cranky now rolling south 550 kilometres, 350 miles to Buno Buno National Park in far northern New South Wales, meaning poor country with no animals to provide food, pronounced Buna Buno. We're sure if you try you can say it too, Buna Buno, Buna Buno. Careful says 646 kilometres, 401 miles from Buno Buno to Woi Woi, a town on New South Wales central coast, meaning a place with much water or big lagoon, a beautiful place about which the locals proudly boast. I boast about it as well because I'm the mayor of Woi Woi. It's in the central coast. Karey says 190 kilometres, 118 miles from Woi Woi to Bong Bong, many indigenous meanings. The seating part of the human body, many frogs, many water courses out of sight, more than most other places, but famous for their annual Bong Bong picnic races. Careful says, then 240 kilometres, 150 miles south from Bong Bong is where home in Wombat. We've added it all up. We've rolled about 20,000 kilometres, 12,427 miles around Australia. Pleased with herself, we all agree. Just how good is that? Karey says to finish, too many towns with their names twice for us to fit in. Just one book. Careful says, if you love this one, our next book, How We Saw Australia Volume 3, is certainly doubly worth the look. Thank you for listening.